Trustee Mike Gade and I are here at the Children's Advocacy Center. We're going to be speaking to some of the people who run this agency. I get questions from people sometimes, what is that big old white farmhouse on Illinois Boulevard? Well, come on in with Mike and myself, and we'll talk with Mark Parr, Simone Wheeler, and Ali Boggio-Hair about what services they provide from this building. I'm Mayor Bill McLeod, and I'm here with Trustee Mike Gade from Hoffman Estates, another episode of the Heart of Hoffman Estates. We're here at the Children's Advocacy Center, and we'd like to get some information about what is the Children's Advocacy Center and what do you do? Can everybody just introduce themselves and tell us what role you play and what you folks do here?
Sure. I'll start. My name is Ali Boggio-Hair. I am the development coordinator here, so I help plan our events, I work with our volunteers, and I work with our database.
And I'm Mark Parr. I'm the executive director of the center, so I oversee programmatic and development activities sort of at a high level.
And I'm Simone Wheeler. I'm Director of Development, so responsible for all fundraising activities here at the center.
What is the CAC and what do you do here?
The Children's Advocacy Center is an agency, a not-for-profit agency, and we provide direct services for children who are victims of sexual abuse, severe physical abuse, or other crimes. Everything from helping coordinate the investigation so that children only have to tell their account of what they experienced one time, to providing the kinds of support and advocacy and therapy services that help the child and his or her parents and other family members get past the trauma and heal and really put their lives back in order in the way that things we would want things to be for kids who've experienced any kind of abuse or maltreatment.
Mark, is there a cost associated with this?
There is not. All our services, whether it's the interview, advocacy services, or therapy services for families, are provided free of charge.
Free of charge. Excellent.
This is a great program. How did it get started? Who came up with the concept of CAC?
Well, the very first Children's Advocacy Center was actually started down in Madison County, Alabama, by Bud Kramer, later became a congressman. Here in Illinois, the first two centers began in DuPage County and Lake County, and very shortly after that, our center began as well. And so there were community members and professionals in Hanover Township who started a task force to look at the issue of children who had experienced abuse. From that, the Hanover Township Mental Health Board began the program, and then within a year, back in 1989, the center was founded as a separate not-for-profit agency, originally over in Hanover Park, and then moved to the village of Hoffman Estates back in the early 90s, and we've been here ever since.
Now you have other facilities. You covered North and Northwest Cook County.
That's correct. Yeah, we serve 38 communities in the north and northwest suburbs. So in addition to our main facility here in Hoffman Estates, our Safe from the Start program is housed over at the Hanover Township Resource Center in Streamwood. We have a satellite office in Northbrook, and then a few years ago we started a counseling office in Evanston as well, so that we can really try to reach the children and families where they are in the community.
How many people do you say that CAC has served in, say, a year, last year even?
Last year
approximately.
we served slightly over 800 children and adults.
800?
Right.
That's a high number.
Yeah. Again, that's new clients. We served probably about a little more than 550 new clients, and then a number of children and families who we continue to serve from previous years. It's a large number.
What would you say the percentage is from adults and children?
Well, almost all those clients would be children. The only exception to that would be in our counseling services. We do also provide some services for adults, usually the parents of children that we're working with.
Excellent what you people do, without a doubt, you know?
Where does your funding come from? Do you get federal money, state money?
It's a mix of funds. We do get money from the state of Illinois through the Department of Children and Family Services and the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority, and also the Attorney General's office. There are special funds that help support services for victims of crime. But we also get funds from local townships, local municipalities. We write for private foundation grants. We are a United Way funded agency, and we do a number of fundraising events and requests to the community for donations and support.
Has the, I guess for lack of a better word, the paralysis in Springfield, the state of Illinois, how's that affected your operations?
Well, it's had a significant impact on our Safe from the Start program. That works with children birth through 5 who've been exposed to violence, very specialized program. And 2 years ago, the state eliminated the funding for the Safe from the Start program. And we've been working to try to get that back again. So we've worked very hard. Simone and the development team, along with our board of directors, have really worked to try to find other ways to support Safe from the Start. And fortunately, we've been able to maintain the program and not cut back on services at all. But this was a program that we had identified in our strategic planning process as needing to be expanded. There are areas over in the north suburban area that we serve where these services are not available. And our hope is, and our plan still is, to try to find a means to bring those services to kids and families who really need this kind of intervention in that area as well.
Now, who does Safe from the Start serve?
So children who have experienced violence, usually domestic violence, we've learned so much about how just witnessing violence can have a huge impact on children and how they grow and develop their ability to learn and interact appropriately. And so this really tries to identify those children early and provide the kind of support and intervention they need to heal. Again, very important that the violence is eliminated as well, and we want them to be safe first and foremost. But once in a safe setting, then we can begin to try to really help the child and the other parent or caregiver really find a way to get past the trauma they've experienced.
What can people do to help CAC?
We're incredibly grateful to our community partners, to people that support our agency. We wouldn't be able to exist without the support of the community. And as Mark has said, the issues in Springfield mean that we are working hard to garner support from local communities within the areas that we serve. But there are a number of ways that people can help. People can help by getting involved and volunteering their time, perhaps serving on a committee. We always need people to work on fundraising events with us to help with building awareness. People can help through donating financially as well. And we have a range of opportunities that people can give to that will directly impact the clients that we see in a positive way. And they can also become engaged by supporting two of our ancillary groups. We have the Emerging Leaders, which is a young professionals group that meets in the city. And we also have the Women's Hearts for Healing, which is a group for women that meets here in Hoffman Estates. So there's a wide range of opportunities for people.
How can businesses help you? I mean, we're just talking about individuals and so forth, but how can businesses help you, or how do you go out to them?
So businesses can also help in a variety of ways. For me, as Director of Development, the best way that businesses can help is by sponsoring one of our 4 key events that we have, and hopefully raise some awareness for the businesses brand as well as for the Children's Advocacy Center. Our flagship event is our gala in April that happens at Medina Country Club, and we're always seeking sponsorship for that event. It's the sponsorship that really helps raise the dollars and also bring new people into the organization. But also, I think there's a shift now that corporations want their employees to have some skin in the game and to be helping volunteer at the place that the organization is donating to. So I think there are always a number of group volunteer activities that we can arrange here on site.
A little over a year ago, we reached out to the Children's Advocacy to find out what kind of projects Rotary could be helpful with, because we are a service organization. And one of their thoughts was a butterfly garden. And we were thinking originally, a small little something out in the corner there. Well, it grew into this beautiful, wonderful, full yard for the children and the families. We reached out to people that we knew in the landscaping business, and they reached out to their vendors, and everyone we asked donated. This is a retail value of about a $65,000 garden, and we were able to get a large portion of that donated. What we couldn't get donated, our Rotary Club has funded the balance of. We will also be involved in the ongoing maintenance of it. We've also created a fundraising opportunity for them because they're selling the brick pavers, and you can put your name, your family, a happy birthday for someone in memory of, or a little word of encouragement on the brick, and that donation goes right back to help the CAC.
We are limited because we don't pack food in boxes. We don't build houses, and the nature of our work is very confidential. So often people ask if they can come and read to children or work with children, but confidentiality is of the utmost importance to us. Children need to feel safe here. But there are opportunities for organizations to get involved, but not directly with our clients, as with some other non-profits. So, as I mentioned, we have 4 core fundraising events, and the first one is our gala in April, and then we have our walk in June that we talked about, followed by a golf outing in July. It's July 17th this year, and it will be at the Schaumburg Golf Club. It's $150 per person for a golfer, and everything's included in that: your cart, your green fees, and lunch and dinner. It's a really, really fun day out. And then lastly, we have our casino night, which is in October, and it's October the
20th.
And this one is downtown at the Hard Rock Cafe. And that's always a really fun evening, an opportunity to spend some time with friends at the tables and raise some money for a good cause.
Ellie, you work with the volunteers. You want to expand a little bit about the young leaders and the various other programs?
Sure. So our emerging leaders group, as Simone mentioned, is young professionals. We work to host 1 or 2 events a year. We have a bowling event in June, and we are starting a bar crawl in July. So as Simone mentioned, we kind of move those meetings around to where our members are to see what locations are most convenient. As far as volunteers here at the center, we usually look to staff volunteers to help us do some administrative projects, help us answer the phone, kind of help with fundraising projects, as well as anything that the clinical staff may need. And as Simone mentioned, we do work a lot with corporate groups. So we can typically, if we can schedule it early enough, we can host corporate groups here. They can come do a tour, and depending on kind of the time of year and our needs, we really tailor volunteer projects to those corporate groups. So what would benefit us the most, and what's something that they think they're interested in as well.
Like didn't Zurich Insurance do some work in the building for you?
Yeah, so in the past we've had Zurich help kind of spruce up the area. They've painted, they've gardened our front yard. We also work with Zurich, or we have in the past with our gala. A lot of their departments will come together as a team and put together these really great silent auction baskets for our gala, which is a huge help. A silent auction is a big moneymaker at our event, so it's great to be able to see the community come together and donate really great looking packages that help us raise a lot of revenue night of.
Now you have a event coming up in June. You want to talk about that? This
We
is something
do.
that everybody can get involved in.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't have
this
to be a
is-
big corporate donor.
Absolutely. So this is our 5K walk event is on Sunday, June 25th. It's at our center here in Hoffman Estates. We host it kind of out in the front yard. It's a 5K walk, and this year we're going to throw in an alternate route for maybe younger kids. It's very family friendly, and it's really geared towards kids and families. So we usually have a bounce house, we do face painting, we have food and snacks. Just a really nice morning. Knock on wood, it's never rained. It's just a really nice morning in the summer to get out with your family and help a good cause. So we have information about that on our website, all over our social media as well.
Okay, you folks have anything else you want to bring up?
Just that, for people that are looking to give back, through their time and philanthropically, we are an agency that unfortunately people typically don't find out about until they need our services. Child sexual abuse is a difficult topic to talk about, and sometimes people would rather not talk about it and pretend that we don't exist.
Doesn't happen here, right?
Exactly. But unfortunately it does, and as Mark said, we served 800 children and families last year, and I'm glad we're here because we are able to help those children heal and move on from the incident that he or she experienced. And I think the more that we can create awareness about this issue, the more that we can talk about it, the easier it becomes for children and families that have experienced this kind of trauma. So by supporting an agency like ours, you're really making a tremendous difference in the lives of children and families. We welcome anyone to come and have a tour and see what we do here, and we're certainly very happy to answer questions and talk more about how you can get involved.
One of the interesting stories I thought recently what's been happening with the state was with the Safe with the Start. Can you explain exactly what you had to do to keep that program going?
So the Safe from the Start program, as Mark mentioned, is a program of CAC. It's different in that it doesn't involve an interview, it's not an investigation, but this is a program for children 0 to 5 who have experienced trauma. And it's incredibly unique, as we are the only program in this area that offers these services. And we felt as an organization the work that we do is far too important to just say, okay, well, we'll have to trim the costs of this particular program. So we went out to the community, we went out to some of our key supporters, and we presented a case for support as to what their donation would mean. And we were very fortunate in that we were able to raise $125,000 to keep this program going, because our supporters agreed that the work that we do basically changes children's lives in a very, very positive way. And they also felt it was just too important for this not to exist.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know that children can and do get past these things in their lives, and they do get better if they get the proper intervention, the proper support, the right services, and that the families can be made whole again and really find a way to provide the safety that we want, again, for all our kids, so that they can really reach their potential. And I think when people sometimes ask and talk about how difficult the work might be, I think it's having contact with kids, seeing how resilient they can be, and seeing them get better that really keeps all our staff very focused and continuing to do this work.
I don't know how you do it either. I think it would be very, very, very difficult, but I guess this always reminds me of what President Kennedy once said: you change the world one block at a time, and you're changing the world one kid, one person, one family at a time. I think that's very important. Michael?
Would you say the website again, right?
Yes, of
Please.
course. Our website is www.cachelps.org. I believe our Facebook name, if you search for the Children's Advocacy Center of North and Northwest Cook County, you can find us on there as well.
Other than that, right, just the exceptional job that you folks do here is unbelievable. And as you said, Simone, there aren't that many people that know about CAC, Children's Advocate Center, right? And the more that we can get the word out, just to let people know ahead of time, okay, so they know that there is a place that they could come, right, and be safe. And the confidentiality here, I think, is a big thing. Yes, thank you all for what you do.
One thing we didn't really cover is how do your clients come to you? How are they referred to you? How does this work?
Yeah. We have a partnership with all local law enforcement throughout the 38 communities, with the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. That's our team that works together on a regular basis. And so most of the children who come to us, they have told someone that something has happened in their lives, and it's been reported either to the police or to DCFS, who then contact us. Once that initial call is made, then we really become very involved, and our intake coordinator makes contact with the family and helps get the process started for them to bring their child here.
So if a child is abused and they're referred here, you have someone who interviews them?
Correct.
And then where does it go from there?
Always, it varies greatly. Again, it's an investigation that's being done both on the criminal justice side and the child protection side as well. So our goals are really to ensure that the child has every opportunity to explain in their own words what may have happened in their lives, and then to ensure that the right services are put in place to keep them safe and to help them to heal from this trauma. You know, our interviewers are trained in a model of forensic interviewing, and it begins normally with rapport building, very simple kinds of conversations with children. We don't just kind of have them come into the room and begin to talk about their abuse experience. So it really is a period of time to kind of allow the child to tell the interviewer some things about themselves, to learn a little bit more about them, understand better how they might answer questions, because we interview children as young as 3 all the way through age 17. And so their abilities vary greatly depending on their age and the kinds of things they have experienced. And really the interviewer uses the skills and just allowing the child to begin to feel a little bit more comfortable. And honestly, you can actually kind of feel and see that happening in the course of an interview before you move forward and begin to ask the child to explain the reason for their coming in and whatever it is that they may have experienced.
So these are all trained professionals.
I was going to say Mark has many years of experience of doing this, because Mark is also a trained forensic interviewer.
Right.
So when necessary, when we don't have the staff available,
Right.
Mark steps in.
I'm the interviewer of last resort. If the offender can be held accountable, if there is enough evidence to see the case successfully prosecuted through the criminal justice system, that's a great outcome as well, because that may help protect other children, because we know some offenders will offend against more than one child. Hopefully DCFS, they can identify those people again who have committed these offenses and help the family and support them in getting the help they need. But we see that as sort of our goal and our mission, no matter what happens with those investigations, that we're still committed to ensuring that the child will be helped and the family will be given the kinds of support they need. And families can work with us for as long a time as they want. There's no time limit. We've had families work with us for years in their healing process. So whatever families need, our goal is to try to either provide it or help find it for them.
You had mentioned that the child has to tell their story only once. So what happens if a case does end up in the criminal justice system? It goes to court. What happens then?
Well, all our interviews are recorded, and oftentimes those recordings will come into the court proceedings. But ultimately, if the case does result in a trial, the child may have to testify. Now, there's lots of support provided in preparation and work with the state's attorney's office to ensure that the family and the child understand what might be needed. But there, as in all cases, the person accused has the right to sort of confront their accuser, and so the child may need to ultimately to take the stand and to explain what occurred with the abuse. But in the meantime, again, there are many steps before we ever get to that point, and fortunately or unfortunately in Cook County, it can take a year to even a couple of years for cases to come to trial. So there's a lot of work that can and is done with children and their families in that time span before the case ultimately comes to trial.
And like I say, thank you again for the job that all of you do here. It's for tomorrow. It's for tomorrow.
Thank you for inviting us in and learn about what you do here.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's always great to come back to the Hammerstein Farmhouse. This is the original village hall in Hoffman Estates, owned by one of the Hammersteins, whose wife was a silent film star who actually
right.
lived in this house till the
history.
1940s and 50s. Yes. So. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Mark,
you.
Mark,
Thank you.
Ellie.
Thanks,
Thank you.